Have you ever had one of those days at work? A day where you are trying your absolute best, but one person seems determined to make it as difficult as possible? This is a story about Chloe, a hard-working waitress who faced that exact situation. She believed it was just another tough shift, dealing with a customer who seemed impossible to please. But what Chloe didn't know was that a quiet young woman in the corner of the cafe was watching everything and was about to change her life forever. Before we continue with the story, we would love to know where you are watching from. Please, let us know in the comments so we can bring more stories that you can connect with. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss our upcoming stories. Now, let's dive in. The bell above the door of the Daily Grind Cafe chimed softly, announcing another customer. Chloe looked up from the coffee machine and gave a warm, welcoming smile. For Chloe, this cafe wasn't just a job. It was her stage, a place where a simple cup of coffee and a kind word could brighten someone's day. She was good at it, and she took pride in it, even on days when her feet ached and her energy was low. The cafe was busy today. The low hum of conversations mixed with the clinking of cups and the hiss of the espresso machine. Most of the customers were regulars, friendly faces who knew Chloe by name. But then, the bell chimed again. An older woman, impeccably dressed, in a tailored coat and carrying an expensive handbag, walked in. Her name was Mrs. Covington. And as she scanned the room with a critical eye, the warm atmosphere in the cafe seemed to drop a few degrees. Chloe felt a knot tighten in her stomach. Mrs. Covington was also a regular, but not the good kind. She came in 3 times a week, and every single time something was wrong. The coffee was too hot or too cold. The table was wobbly. The music was too loud. A table. Now, Mrs. Covington said, not as a request, but as a demand. She didn't make eye contact with Chloe. "Of course, Mrs. Covington," Chloe replied, her voice calm and pleasant. "Right this way." She led the woman to a clean, quiet table by the window. As Mrs. Covington sat down, she ran a finger over the polished wood surface, checking for dust. Finding none, she simply let out a dissatisfied sigh. In the corner of the cafe, a young woman in a simple hoodie and jeans sat alone. Her headphones were on, and she seemed completely lost in the screen of her phone, which she had propped up on the table. Mrs. Covington glanced at her and rolled her eyes. "Honestly," she muttered to Chloe, "don't young people do anything anymore besides stare at their phones?" Chloe just smiled politely and handed her a menu. "Can I get you started with your usual latte?" "And I expect it to be extra hot this time," Mrs. Covington snapped. "Not lukewarm like the last time." "Of course," Chloe said, before walking back to the counter. She took a deep breath. "Just another Tuesday," she told herself. "Don't let her get to you." She carefully prepared the latte, checking the temperature. Twice. She made sure the foam on top was perfect. She carried it over to the table on a small tray, her movement steady and professional. "Your extra hot latte, Mrs. Covington." The woman picked up the cup, took a tiny sip, and immediately put it down with a loud clank. "This is not extra hot," she declared, her voice loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "It's barely warm. Are you even listening to your customers? Or is that too difficult for you?" Chloe's cheeks grew warm with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry, ma'am. I can make you another one right away." "Don't bother," Mrs. Covington said, waving her hand dismissively. "You'd probably just get it wrong again. It's a shame. This place used to have standards. It seems the quality of the help has gone down." The words stung. Chloe had been working here for 3 years. She had trained new employees. She loved this job. To hear someone insult her work, her effort, so casually, it hurt. But she kept the professional smile on her face. "Is there anything else I can get for you?" she asked, her voice quiet. "No. Just my bill, and I certainly won't be tipping for this kind of service," Mrs. Covington said, making sure to say the word service with as much scorn as possible. As Chloe turned to leave, Mrs. Covington wasn't finished. She looked over at the young woman in the corner again, who had briefly glanced up from her phone. "And you," Mrs. Covington said loudly to the girl, "wipe that silly look off your face and mind your own business. The world doesn't need another person with their head buried in a screen." The young woman just looked at her, her expression unreadable, before looking back down at her phone. Chloe brought the bill. Mrs. Covington paid with her credit card, snatched it back, and left the cafe without another word. The bell on the doctor chiming sharply behind her. Chloe stood there for a moment, her shoulders slumping. She felt a tear prick the corner of her eye, but she blinked it away. She wouldn't cry. Not here. Just then, the young woman from the corner table stood up and walked over to the counter. She pulled her headphones down around her neck. "Hi," she said, her voice surprisingly clear and kind. "My name is Maya." "Hi," Chloe said, trying to compose herself. "I'm sorry about that. She can be a little difficult." Maya gave a small smile. "You handled that with incredible grace. I don't know how you did it." She paused, then took a small breath. "Look, there's something you should know. I wasn't just sitting here listening to music." She turned her phone around for Chloe to see. It was a live video stream. On the screen, Chloe could see herself, clear as day. And in the corner, a number, 52,000 viewers. The comments were flying by so fast she could barely read them. "Chloe deserves a raise. That woman was horrible. Does anyone know her? I've worked in service, I know how hard it is. You are a rock star, Chloe." "The Daily Grind in Austin? I'm going there tomorrow to give Chloe the biggest tip ever." Chloe stared, her mouth open. She was speechless. "I run a social media channel called Kindness Counts," Maya explained gently. "I do live social experiments. Today's was about how we treat people in the service industry. I was just supposed to film my interactions. But then Mrs. Covington started her performance. My viewers saw everything. They saw how rude she was. And they saw how incredibly professional and kind you were, even when she was awful to you." Chloe felt a wave of emotions wash over her. Shock, relief, and a strange sense of justice. All the times she had swallowed her pride and just smiled. This time, someone saw. In fact, thousands of people saw. I don't know what to say," Chloe whispered. "You don't have to say anything," Maya said. "You already showed everyone who you are. A kind, hardworking person." Maya then pointed to a link on her screen. "My followers have already started a virtual tip jar for you. They want to show their appreciation." Over the next hour, Chloe's world turned upside down. The cafe phone started ringing with people calling to offer her words of support. The video clip of the interaction went viral. By the end of the day, Mrs. Covington had been identified, and her husband's company had to issue a public apology for her behavior. She never showed her face in the daily grind again. But more importantly, good things started happening for Chloe. The owner of the cafe saw the video and gave her a promotion to manager. People from all over the city came in, not just for coffee, but to meet the waitress who had shown the world what dignity looks like. And the virtual tip jar? It collected over $10,000, enough for Chloe to finally take a real vacation and put a down payment on a new car. As she locked up the cafe that night, Chloe looked around at the quiet, empty room. It was still the same cafe. But for her, everything had changed. All because of a quiet girl in the corner, a hidden camera, and the simple, powerful truth that kindness always counts. So that was the story of Chloe, and how a terrible moment turned into an incredible opportunity. It really makes you think about how our actions, big or small, can be seen by the world in this digital age. We have a question for you all. What do you think about what Maya did? Was it right for her to film and broadcast the interaction without permission? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonates with you, please do hit the subscribe button. It's completely free for you, but it helps our channel a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.